Uh, Welcome to the show. This is Babblin and Dabblin. You already know we a podcast. Yeah, we babblin' and dabbling. Podcast. Yeah, we babblin' and dabbling. Babblin' and dabbling. Babblin' and dabbling. Welcome to the show. This is Babblin and Dabblin. You already know we a podcast. Yeah, we babblin' and dabbling. Podcast. Yeah, we babblin' and dabbling. Babblin' and dabbling. Babblin' and dabbling.
All right, welcome to another episode. This is episode 63, to be named at the end of the episode, but by the time you're here, you already know what it is because you saw it on the fucking podcast stuff. So, it's not really a surprise.
Indubitably.
Yes, it's not really a surprise to anybody what this episode will be named, but as of right now, recording, we don't even know. So, we're back. We survived another week. And we're going to talk about that week, I guess. Who's starting? Whose week are we catching up
well,
on?
Mine's going to be very quick.
Okay.
I picked up my guitar again.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it in probably honestly like a year. And I recently got it just tuned it back up, fixed up because it was just starting to, I hadn't played it in so long. It needed to be restringed. It needed to be cleaned off, and I didn't want to do all that. Right. And plus, the knobs were starting to loosen up and stuff. So, I just put it in the music shop for a little while, and they fixed it up. And I was like, I need to start playing this thing again. So I picked it back up, and surprisingly, I feel like I'm not that bad compared to when I was playing. It's like riding a bike, I guess. It's maybe that 10,000 hours thing. Yeah. When you play for so long, it just kind of doesn't leave. It's not perfect. I'm not as good as I used to be, but I feel like it's coming back to me really quickly.
Well, if it's any consolation, you're better than I am.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
My kids play my guitar more than I do. I haven't fucking ever.
I'll take the compliments where I can get them.
Yeah, they're few and far between for both of us, I'm sure.
But that's pretty much the accumulation of my week, other than my sleep schedule being all over the place. That's about it.
Yeah, nice. Oh, shit. I meant to do this before we started to catch up. Anyway, I'll do that next week, maybe. No, I won't. Never fucking remember it. Anyway, my week was... I'm gonna really sell you guys on this. I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, so my week was a very hopeful, optimistic week. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I got this call from the hiring manager at the new company I've been waiting to hear back from. And he was like, hey, man, corporate finally cleared everything. You're good to go. Take your drug test and your new physical and everything. And then we can get you set up for training. Because I'm, going to haul fuel and everything. I've never done any tanker jobs. So I got to go through a couple weeks of training to get the, hang of things. So I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm out of here. This is great. Week's going along. I'm like, yeah, look, man, I'll be in town Friday with enough time to get in and get done everything that I need to get done. So Thursday, I hit about 4 traffic jams throughout the day, and the last one was pretty massive. It took me an hour to go 3 miles. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm close enough to where I can wake up in the morning.
3 miles an hour.
Shut the fuck up. I'm close enough.
I mean, I just, you do the math.
Yeah. We get it. I get it. It ain't making me laugh, but I get it.
It's making me laugh. All right.
But anyway, I'm like,
continue.
I'm like, all right, I'm close enough to where I can wake up in the morning, get to my delivery, go pick up my next load for, to leave out the next week with, and get the drug test and physical done. Which was all true until it wasn't. Because I overslept by 3 hours.
Damn.
And I was like, fuck. And I there was a small chance of hope that I had all day long. I got into town like 1 o'clock in the afternoon over off of Sardis Church. I'm like, bet, dropping hook. They're like, we don't have any empty trailers for you to take. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. So I just had to go right over to graphic packaging on the other side of Macon. So I had to pick up an empty trailer from them, get loaded at their warehouse, like right outside of their facility. It's like a separate business, but they work together. So go over there. I'm getting loaded up. I have Rachel come over there to wait for me because, like, as soon as I get loaded, I'm like, boom, I gotta go get this drug test done, shoot over to get a physical. It's like 3 o'clock when I get to this place. And he's like, it won't take very long to get you loaded, because they're usually a pretty shit place to get loaded at, honestly. There's usually a shitload of trucks waiting. That's what makes it bad. But there was a couple doors wide open. No waiting at all. So I'm like, all right, bet. So, you know, let Rachel know I'm like, I'm about to get loaded. And then as soon as I'm done getting loaded, we can shoot right over there and get the shit done.
By loaded, he means it's like trailer, not, you know, not drugs or anything.
Yes.
I'm assuming? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there getting loaded. I call the physical place because they're open a little bit later. But I thought to myself, I'm like, wait a second. They close at 5. There's probably a cutoff for when they accept, you know, people to come in for physicals. So I'm like, all right, let me call him real quick, see what that is. Call him 4 o'clock. I'm like, not going to make that today. But the drug test place is open until 4:30. I'm like, all right, I can get that done. It's like 3:15 at this point. And then I start thinking, shit, they had a cutoff for physicals. I wonder what the cutoff is for drug tests. So I call them. And they're like, yeah, we're already done doing drug tests for the day.
Oh. Then why are you open until 4:30? I guess they had people scheduled. Yeah.
That's what I was like, what did they just what did they pay you to be there for? A whole nother what do you guys stop at 3?
What am I paying you guys for?
Dude, like what the fuck? I was very mad. She told me like, yeah, we're already done doing drug tests for the day. I'm like, well, that does me no good. And she was like, oh. I was like, sorry, I didn't mean to be a dick about it.
I'm just a receptionist.
Yeah. It's like, why don't you receive some urine? Recept this urine, lady. I need to fucking get it processed. So that's the story of that. What was once a hopeful week turned into a large disappointment like most of my life. So I don't know when I'll be able to quit my job, because I can't afford to just quit and wait it out to get the results and everything back and then start training, because like the first, like, I think it's 3 weeks of training, could be 2 if I get everything figured out quick and they need like a extra driver, whatever. But like training is shit pay compared to normal pay.
Yeah.
When I'm on my own, so the first like 2 to 3 weeks are gonna be like low pay, so I can't afford to miss a week of work and then go into making shit money. So I gotta try and get that worked out. And so that sucks. I don't know when I'll be able to start my new job. I was hoping next week, like I was gonna finish this week out, start Monday of the next week, and just be good to go. Life was gonna be great. Now it's not again. So there's that.
That's the circle of life.
That is. The irony of it is I sat there all day thinking, I'm like, man, I give Scott shit for being oversleeping and being late.
I haven't said anything about it.
Yeah,
I did think.
I was sitting there like, oh man, Scott's gonna give me shit.
That did enter my head.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, man, I really dropped the ball on this one.
Only late when it matters.
Yeah, apparently. So there's that.
It sounded like you had a worse week than me.
This is a bad week. Well, it was a bad day.
And he spent most of it in a truck.
Yeah, that's the worst part of truck driving. Is like when you have bad days, you're just in a truck.
The day's still bad. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's the light at the end of the week, maybe. Yeah,
whenever I got home, it's like, okay, I guess, but like it's so much bullshit just piled up from like days on days of being on the road. And like constantly dealing with that bullshit, and there's no escape from that bullshit because I'm stuck in the thing that is causing that bullshit.
It's also not like you can just be like, you know what, I'm gonna take points today and to go home early.
Yeah,
because you're out in another state.
There's no way to just I can't call in.
Not feeling it.
I'm fucking thousands of miles away. It's like I'm just gonna go home. They're like, how? I don't know. Send me a load. Give me a load. Straight
I'm
back.
going to drop the load I have now, and I'm going to come back in the truck.
Yeah.
You guys, it's on the corner of 54th and Wiggly. Just you might want that.
Yeah.
Go pick that up.
You guys, I mean, I was nice enough to let you know where it was.
Yeah. Also, I'm assuming this is my last day. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure I'm fired after that.
Another thing is, I
wonder if that's happened. It's got to have happened. Someone just left.
Oh yeah.
And went, I'm done.
I had one company I quit on. They thought I abandoned the load. I was just like, no, I was sick. I told y'all I was quitting, and I would bring the load to a yard. They sent a driver to pick up the load from where I had it dropped the day that I was like not sick again and went to go with it. Because they called me later. They're like, we had a driver come to get that load. Do you know where it's at? I'm like, yeah, I got it, motherfucker. I'm bringing it to y'all. I fucking told you what I was gonna do. And like, oh, we thought you just quit and abandoned the load. I'm like, no.
I'm not that. Is that what y'all think of me?
Well, I'd only been there for 2 weeks. They just pissed me off real early on. But
dude, I'm so glad I didn't get my CDL.
Yeah, dude. If you're listening to this and you're like, I wonder if I should get my CDL, you should not. Do not do it.
What are some reasons someone would want to?
If they hate themselves.
Okay.
But want to make a lot of money. But not enough to be a lot of money.
Okay.
Listen, if you're single, truck driving.
I have heard that there are some scenarios, though, for truck driving where, like, if it's just you and your wife, like, you guys can go as a couple wherever you go, and, like, you just live out of the truck, sort of.
Yeah, it's a very sad life. But if you can make if you both get CDLs and your husband wife team or like boyfriend girlfriend whatever, and both incomes are coming to the same place, you can make some really good money. Because I mean, team drivers can make like to the truck like $3,000 to $4,000 a week,
and then you have to spend every waking moment with your significant other.
Yeah, but you'll be sleeping. Like you'll be driving, they'll be asleep. They'll be driving, you'll be asleep, kind of deal.
Oh, great.
So it's not like all that bad, but yeah, I mean you can make really good money in truck driving. I'm not shitting on it. The money is the only thing I'm still, only reason I'm still doing it because I can't leave truck driving and find the same kind of money anywhere else, and that's what gets a lot of people. But if you're single or just with a partner and no kids involved, like it could be a really good career if you like to sightsee. You'll hate to do it in a truck, but you'll get to do it a lot. Cause
if you like to drive in bad weather.
So much bad weather.
Which I don't. I don't even like delivering pizzas in bad weather.
Well, you definitely don't want to be doing it in a 70-foot vehicle. And when a wind, you would think being a big truck that's heavy, the wind wouldn't affect you that much. But you're a gigantic wind magnet, so it fucking hits you. No matter how heavy you are, you still get blown all over the fucking road.
Well, especially like it hits the trailer. And the trailer will kind of move a little bit, and
yeah,
all
the time. And I usually got some slow fuckface trying to pass me when the wind hits me and blows me towards that said slow fuckface. If you listen,
oh shit,
listen right now,
listen, Linda.
If you're trying to pass a fucking big rig, fucking pass us. Don't hang out all goddamn day next to us and take your fucking time about it. Move, get around us. You don't need to be next to us. Because sometimes we have to make sudden changes, and if you're just hanging out next to us, you're going to really fuck things up, and that's going to fuck a lot of things up for a lot of people. So just do yourself and everybody else a fucking favor. If you're trying to pass a truck, fucking pass them.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah, speed a little bit. If you're going like 1 to 2 miles an hour faster than us, and you were like, I'm coming up on them, get over, do about 3 more miles an hour at least, get the fuck around us, slow back down to that 1 to 2 miles an hour you were doing faster than us. It's a very simple process.
Because you guys are governed. Like, you can't go that much.
Yes, most trucks are governed. I'm governed at 68. Some trucks are governed at 75. Some trucks are governed at 58. It's a fucking crapshoot as to what speed the truck's going. But chances are, if a truck's going a speed on the interstate, that's the fucking speed they're going. No more than that. So get the fuck around us.
Mic drop. Yeah.
No.
These are more.
These are paid off.
Oh yeah.
We're not breaking them.
No,
I don't want to take that
mic
chance.
dropping in here.
Yeah, but that's just Camden's driving tip of the week, since I don't have a dumb thought.
Phone drop. There we go.
Yeah. I fucking paid that in full too. God damn it. Shit.
I have a life-proof case.
I got this thing. I don't know. Casely, shout out them. They had a super deal going on, man. When we bought them. But yeah, that's it. That's one thing that pisses me off is driving's not that fucking hard. Why are so many people fucking bad at it?
You have to deal with that every day. And then sometimes you're the bad driver.
Never me.
And then
never
it's
me.
absolutely
It's never me.
It's not possible.
It is possible.
There's plenty of times where I'm just like, I'll be like, just thinking all day, like, these fucking drivers out here, dude, just driving all over the place, not knowing what they're doing. And then I'll do something and be like, fuck.
Yeah, no. I text and drive way too much.
I'm sorry.
I'm a bad driver, in certain scenarios. But the shit that I see some people be bad at, it's like, dude, what? And other truck drivers, if you're having to be a truck driver already, and you only go 1 to 2 miles an hour faster than that other truck, why don't you just fucking back off 1 to 2 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Because it takes forever for us to pass each other because we're so fucking long, each one of us. I hate that shit. I come up on somebody, I'm doing like 1 or 2 miles an hour faster than them. And it's just like, I mean, it sucks. I'm like, fuck it. But I back off, especially if there's heavy traffic. I'm like, I'm going to block traffic for miles if I try to pass this person.
Yeah.
So
if you were wondering why I was doing that, by the way, it's for the thumbnail.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I wanted it to look natural, like, mid-comer, because
yeah.
it was.
Mic drop.
There's a sound.
Yeah, it recorded
it was an
my
actual
laptop.
mic drop.
Yeah. Actual accidental mic drop. It was recording, I don't know.
Oh, is this for Instagram?
The workings of my laptop. That's what that was. This is very shaky. My arms are bad.
My arms are bad. My arms don't work well.
Arm bad. Yeah, that's our new thing, apparently. Just taking the Instagram picture in the middle of the episode.
And then announcing it that we're doing it.
Yeah. That's us. Raw and real. We'll never leave you guys in the dark. Or girls.
So when you guys see that Instagram photo, just know this is when we took it.
Yeah, right here. This moment of the podcast. It's like a time capsule. All right. So.
Have you figured out who we're going to call?
No. Did not.
Or are we just going to start cold calling people?
No, we are not. I also switched profiles, so I don't think like most of these people are on my fucking new profile.
Oh, that's not good.
I know Scott is.
Me? Oh, Caraballo?
Caraballo.
Scott Baio?
Shit, dude, it's fucking 1:05 in the morning. Ain't nobody gonna
Already.
Yeah, dude, we fucking sat around and listened to a bunch of music before we started recording. Killed a lot of time. Way too much
But it was
time.
necessary. Some of it.
Much time.
Well, you would play something and be like, fuck, now I have to show them this song because this reminds me of this band or something.
Yeah.
And it was just this back
All right,
and forth.
listen, we're not calling anybody because you're the only one with a real dumb thought this week. I just got like maybe some cop out shit.
I'll call someone.
No.
Yes.
Scott.
You're going to have to come up with something.
I have to go to work, dude, in a couple hours. Just get your dumb thought out, please.
Oh, fine. Give me something.
You win regardless. I have nothing.
That's not how this game works.
Yes, it is. It is now, this week. All right, look, 2 weeks in a row, Scott's the champ. He's the reigning champ right now. Will I ever come back? Probably not. Scott's a lot dumber than I am.
You created this segment.
It was not supposed to be a competition. You were just like, we should think of dumb thoughts and write them down. And I'm like, all right, bet. And then it started off like 1 week, I was the only one with one, and we didn't do competition style then. And then you were just like, oh, I got some too.
That was the first week that you mentioned a dumb thought of the week thing.
No. I mentioned dumb thoughts, and you said we should make that a segment. And
Yes.
You,
And then
you
the
said,
next week
you
I had
said,
one.
No. You said you should do that. You were talking to me. You were like, you should do a dumb thought every week. I'm like, I'll try. First week, I was like, I kind of got a dumb thought, but blah, blah, blah. And you didn't have one that week. And then the next week, you were like, oh, I got one too. I'm like, okay, we can both do one. That's great.
Someone's
and then
got to fact check this. I'm not sure about this one.
Listen, go back. Okay, what was the first one we did?
Dude, I don't know.
Ninth Gutter.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, Ninth Gutter.
That was my first
That was the
thought.
first competition one. So
Yeah.
the week before that, or maybe the week before that, one of those 2 weeks is the first one we did by myself. It was a shitty one because I was like, I didn't really have any. Because I remember you giving me shit. You're like, oh, you were just all smart all week long?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but yes. All right, anyway, my dumb thought of the week. That's not, part of the competition, really. It's just dumb. Is that story about when I overslept because I woke up about an hour and a half before I was supposed to wake up. And I was like, man, fuck this. I'm not staying up. I'll just wake back up when my alarms go off. That didn't happen. So that was my dumb thought, was going back to sleep. Okay, there you go.
Okay. All right, my dumb thought of the week is another joke.
Yeah.
If you want to call it a joke.
His dumb thought of the week fits the dumb thought of the week
Yeah,
format.
exactly.
I had one, but I didn't write it down. So there's another dumb thought of the week. But like that pissing me off thing that happened Friday
Threw you all
kind of
off.
just made my mind go blank for what happened throughout the week.
So, if Harry Potter was a turkey, this is already going great. If Harry Potter was a turkey, would the fourth movie be Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire or the Giblet of Fire? How you feeling right now? Talk to me.
No. We will not talk to each other anymore this episode. I'm talking to the fans to clarify. Me and Scott will no longer speak to each other. We will speak to you each separately, independently. We're in the same room together, but we will not converse anymore. That was bad. That was dumb.
But it was good though, right?
It was good for the context.
The gobble of fire or the giblet of fire?
That was bad. In context, good. Bad overall, though, yes. Very, very...
I'm not sure if I should be proud of myself for that one or not.
No. No, you shouldn't. I mean, again, context,
Yeah.
yes.
Let us know in the comments which one you guys liked better, gobble or giblet.
Should have said gobbler.
Gobbler.
The gobbler of fire.
The gobbler of fire. It just doesn't flow right.
You gotta really get it in there. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It's just boom, you gotta sneak it in.
Just doesn't fit my my lingo, I guess.
I saw your TikTok.
Which one? Oh
The way you pronounce things. By the way, we both have TikToks.
yeah. I need to start plugging that. I forgot to on the last episode, but I did with the episode. It's I mean, I'm gonna plug it again anyways, but it's Scott Barnhart has to fart.
Yeah, facts.
Which I do a lot.
I farted a couple
This
times
Camden
already.
today is the fart champion.
Oh, it's gassy, bro.
Trying to gas up the podcast.
Yeah. All right. I've got a couple TikToks I'm going to share real quick. The one thing I really like about TikToks is they're only like a minute long, so it works out perfectly to get them in and get them out. And I showed one to Scott before we started. It wouldn't work well because you need to see the video to, get it. But these two that I'm about to show them work well audio only.
Okay.
All right, so this first one is a guy playing, I guess it's a ukulele. He's sitting outside of the bathroom door while his girlfriend or wife is in the bathroom, and he's singing a song to her.
Okay.
Okay.
You said we were
Yeah, watch it.
gonna spend
Sorry.
tonight, but you ate that last apple pie, and now your stomach isn't feeling right. I told you that didn't smell alright, and now you're pooping your life away. You're pooping your life away. Yeah, you're pooping your life away.
That's amazing.
You're pooping your life away, baby. And now we can't smash, 'cause you got hella gas. You better wash your ass. You know it's not cool, but what else can I do?
That song is about me.
That is at y.x.official. That's the TikTok channel that came from. All right, this next one.
You better not be posting that.
All right, this is Bay Nakara. Nah.
I'm not sure you pronounced that correctly.
Nah.
I haven't seen it, but
Baenacarcosa.
brand Cratchis. Okay.
What?
Brand Cratchis.
Yeah, whatever. I don't think that's right either, but I don't know, man. At this point, who knows?
Love your hair. I love your hair.
Yeah, it's like compliments as breakdowns.
Oh.
You make my heart skip.
It's like Valentine hearts.
I love your laugh. You are my sun and my moon. You are the bee's knees.
That's the Valentine that they gave to the kid that nobody liked. or no one actually had a crush on.
Bana.
This one's the bee's knees. I'm going to give that to Joe.
Bana. Okay, the guy's name is Andrew Bana. Baena. Bana Carcassa. Bana Carcassa. Fucking figure it out. I don't know. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking stupid. I don't need a dumb thought of the week. I'm just fucking stupid. All right, let's get into the plugs.
How many minutes in?
25.
Gotta love all that pre-roll.
Yeah, I've been wondering, should we switch the plugs to the beginning and just go into the episode?
Nah, it's
It
fine.
takes a while to get to it. All right.
That's probably a good idea, actually.
All right. You know where you're at. It's Babblin and Dabblin. You know, we know where we want you to be. Social medias. We can be found on all social media platforms. That includes Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Actually, those are the only three. At Babblin Dabblin. That's Babblin.
Dabblin.
Dope. And if you'd like to follow me, Camden, I can be found Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, I don't know. Just type in at dflamingo187 and I'll be there, maybe. Google me, I guess. And also 91cam187, Facebook and SoundCloud for my music. Not last week, week before, I previewed my new song. I put the whole thing on there. I don't know, you fucking maybe heard it, maybe you didn't. Go back and listen if you didn't. Did I say TikTok? I think I did. Whatever. Scott.
All right. If you guys want to keep up with my music, you can find me at soundcloud.com/hazardwave. That's HAZARDWAVE. Links to my other socials are there. You can stream or buy my music on Spotify or any major platform that you can find music on. We also have our music now up available on Bandcamp. That's subgoth.bandcamp.com. I also have merch there. Buy a hat or a shirt if you want to support me and my music. That's the best way. And I also just released a remix of Set's song "I Choose to Disappear." Shout out to Dark Star White Light on YouTube. That's DSWL. They promoted it for me on their channel. And you can order hard copies via Remissions Bandcamp, and a full, normal release available on all digital platforms like normal will be available later in the month.
Nice.
Are we forgetting something? Oh yeah. Also, Scott Barnhart has to fart on TikTok.
Yeah. Also, if you'd like to buy some merch for the podcast, you can go to teespring.com/stores/Babblin Dabblin, spelled the same way as our social media handles. We have fucking fall essentials, dude. Long sleeve shirts. We got hoodies, pull over and zip up.
Customizable, however you want to do the coloring.
Facts, dude. We gave you options. We didn't have to, but
I don't want to tell you guys how to wear, what color your shirts have to be. Just
dude, facts.
put the logo on it. It looks dope. Pick whatever color. It's a huge color selection. You're gonna love it.
Dude, for real, dude. Like, we didn't have to do that for you. It cost us literally nothing extra to do it, so we would have been dicks if we didn't offer it. But like, we still didn't have to. So you're welcome.
Also, I know you guys are coffee drinkers, and I just marked down the coffee mug to $10 to make it cheaper with shipping and handling for you guys.
Dude, we got pillows too, and like your friends that are sleeping on us, buy them one. Since they're out here
Nice.
sleeping.
That was some finesse shit right there, man. I like that.
If you're a little tight on funds, everybody is right now.
Oh yeah. Also,
Suck dick for money.
For anybody, do what you got to do. Legalize prostitution. All right. Or legalize sex work.
Legalize everything, dude, except for pedophilia.
Joko 2020. All right. If you guys are partial to YouTube like I am when it comes to your podcast, I've been uploading the episodes to YouTube as we go. I haven't picked a particular date yet, but I'm thinking about releasing them every Saturday. Okay. So basically the audio only comes out on Friday. I mean, it's still audio only, but the YouTube format will come out either the day of or the day after. And
shout out to Scott, dude. He's been making the new graphics for the past couple of weeks and all the YouTube audio onlys. He's done learned him a thing.
Yeah, I've been diving into that. It's been interesting for sure. But
Looks good. Everybody tell him how good he did.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. And I'm also in the process of getting all our backlog of episodes on YouTube as well. So for a little while, they're going to be coming out kind of out of order, with the new episodes and the old episodes. But, bear with me. As soon as we get them all updated, then you'll start seeing a regular stream of episodes. And eventually I will come up with a particular time and day that are going to come out so you know to expect.
I know you guys are heartbroken by this news because, what you think of when you think of Babblin and Dabblin is professionalism. And, our release schedule doesn't seem necessarily professional, but, we're working. And
We are working on it.
Sorry to, we've set the bar so high. The expectations are, just through the fucking roof. And we haven't been able to, meet those expectations that we've set for you guys to have for us. And we apologize deeply and sincerely. But please bear with us through these times, mainly Scott. I have no time to fucking do videos because my life sucks. I'm stuck in a truck all the goddamn time. But that's where we're at. If you prefer YouTube, that's your platform. More power to you. We are now available there.
That's one less ad you got to listen to in the beginning because the Anchor ad will not be on the YouTube episode. So
Yep.
that'll make life easier for you.
Life easier. That'll make life easier. Are you from fucking New Orleans now, dude? Whoa,
Jesus, that's like burp number 3. I'm gonna try to keep it away from the mic. From now
burp
on.
count. Yeah, dude. Fucking do that, please.
I know a few of our listeners aren't crazy about the burps,
At least one. She
At
was
least
vocal
one.
about it. I forgot who though.
but we're raw and real, baby. That's how we do.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna let Scott take us into the theme of the episode. He was the one that
Yeah.
he wanted to have this discussion.
So basically, I've recently dealt with a death, and I've been processing it, and I think I'm ready to really actually verbally talk it out with someone, and other than close family and stuff like that. And I think I've reached a point where I'm ready to talk about it now. But I decided I didn't want to talk about just that. I kind of want to make that the theme of the episode and kind of go through recounting, some of the experiences we've had with death and, how we've coped with it over the years and how it's changed us and, kind of molded us into who we are today and how, it affects us and kind of just get it all out, you know what I mean? And really talk about it. So, I don't know how much Camden's willing to share, but the way I've decided I'm going to do this is I'm going to kind of go through it chronologically. I mean, with just the deaths the impactful deaths that I've had to deal with throughout the years and the different ways that I've reacted to them and whatnot.
All right, man. And by the way, I overshare. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cameron's comfortable sharing. Too much, player. Too fucking much.
So, I guess, do you want me to start first to kind of get it going?
Yep.
All right. So as far back as I can remember, my first experience with death were as far as it really affecting me and having it being something that I had to really take in and process was probably my grandfather when I was a kid. I was in elementary school at the time, I believe. Yes. Yeah. I was in elementary school and he, I believe, had a heart attack. So he was in the hospital and, I'm not going to go crazy into the details on this, but something happened. And while he was in the hospital, he started to decline very quickly. And it was pretty apparent he wasn't going to make it. He was on life support. And so, we went up to see him. And that was my first time seeing somebody, actually on life support, or they're there, but they're not quite there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And at the time, being there and seeing it, I couldn't really quite process it because I wasn't really sure how to feel about it. I didn't cry. I don't believe I cried there. I might have. It's been a long time, so I don't remember. I was probably 10, so, just your average elementary age. And I remember when we got home, we went to my grandmother's house though, and that's when I really did actually cry hard about it because it kind of was hitting. So I left the hospital, and then I was like, oh, so that was the last time I was going to see him alive. It didn't kind of hit me,
Right.
and that was my first time seeing my father get really emotional about something. You know, I mean, obviously it's his dad, and that was definitely my first experience with a family loss. And the funeral, I didn't really have much experience with the funeral though, because I guess we were so young that they didn't want us to really deal with that yet. It might have been too heavy for us. So I remember we just went out and got pizza. Like we were there for part of it, like the viewing. And then you know how you go to the viewing and then afterwards you go like straight to the funeral?
Yeah.
Or the burial rather. We were there for the first part and then we weren't there for the burial. And we just went and got Pizza Hut. And that's what I remember, you know, with a lady that I couldn't tell you who she was. I have no idea who she was. I guess a coworker of my mom's or something. I don't know. Family friend or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was my first brush with dealing with a loss, especially a family loss. Other than, I guess, like, you know, maybe animals. I don't know if we'd even had like a significant animal death at that point either. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was definitely my first experience with it.
Are you gonna keep going, or?
Well, it's a long. So I was gonna see. Do you want to kind of go back and forth a little bit, or is there any? You know,
I'm trying to fucking place like my first real experience. So just kind of keep rolling.
Okay, I got you. All right. So after that, a lot of time passed before my next one, and I think the next one was probably in high school. And, you know, we had an animal die, you know, my cat Tiger, you know, that was probably high school as well. And that was, that was upsetting for a day, but that was like a light, you know, that was a family cat. And the first time an animal had like died that I could that I was aware of, you know, like there and old enough to understand.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, but I was still, you know, it was heavy for like a week or two. I couldn't tell you exactly how I processed that. I don't really remember. I just remember being pretty upset over it for like the day of, and like, you know, probably a little down the following week, but you know. But anyways, the death that I was getting to was in high school. Was this kid named Ryan, and he committed suicide. And I wasn't super close with him, but I was close enough to where I would go play paintball with him, and I've stayed the night at his house and had like, you know, parties with him and got to know him, and he was a cool guy. You know, I listened to music with him. I played guitar with him, all kinds of stuff. So that was my first time, like someone I know, like not super close, but someone I'm familiar with that I talk to and have a dialogue with passing away. That was like, you know, not an adult.
Yeah.
So that was definitely weird.
I think fucking.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Is you trying to
M last name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to give away the full name, but
Yeah,
Ryan
yeah.
M. So you know,
That's because I remember we all went to school together, so I
Yeah.
remember when that happened too.
so that was definitely weird.
Yeah.
I didn't get super crazy emotional about it. It was just one of those things because I wasn't super close with him, but I was close enough to where it did have an effect on me. It was more so just contemplative, I guess you can say.
Were we still in school when that happened?
Yes.
I'm having a hard
I mean,
time
I don't know if it was over the
remembering
summer or not, but I remember we were in high school. Yeah. Well, yeah, we were actively still in high school.
What age though? Because I'm like my timeline and memory is terrible, but because I'm trying to think. I remember hearing about it more on social media than like in person.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was definitely during the MySpace days, and maybe the beginnings of Facebook.
Well, he's still on my friends list. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
he's
was
still on mine.
Facebook full swing.
Oh wow, you're right. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
It was
trying to
probably at
remember.
the ass end of high school.
So it's probably after I dropped out. Is why I probably don't remember hearing about it like in person.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I dropped out at 16.
It was so long ago, man. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't.
Yeah,
tell you.
that dude trying to remember shit. My timelines are all fucking mixed up about shit.
But he was a cool dude. You know, rest in peace to him.
He was. Yeah, I remember. I mean,
I just, you know, I know he was going through some shit, and you know, I just couldn't imagine taking my life like in. It's weird that so many suicides. I mean, it's not weird. I guess it makes sense that so many suicides are when you're that young, because they haven't fully, you know, like when you're that age, your hormones are crazy.
Yeah.
And you're kind of crazy at that age.
I get it.
Yeah.
I was going to do it at 13.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to understand that like things are going to be different, especially like even if you, of course, there's times for depression in your 20s and late teens, but it's not this hormonal imbalance thing that's like making. I mean, unless it's a real crazy like mental disorder, but beyond that. The things that make you depressed and want to kill yourself are a little different than just, a girl not liking you back and you being crazy emotional about it. You know what I mean? Yep. Eventually you kind of get through that. So it just sucks. I don't know what to tell them, people that age, other than it does get better, different. You get stronger.
You get used to it.
Or you become more resilient and
exactly.
you're able to process your emotions better. So for most people,
the easiest way that I can rationalize it is just that you get used to it. Time doesn't heal anything. It just gives you more experience in that subject.
Yeah.
You can eventually handle it better. You get more used to it. You don't necessarily get better, so to speak. You're just kind of numb to it in certain cases. Some cases you do get better. Some cases you become stronger and you learn how to cope with things in a healthy way. Sometimes you're just like, all right, enough time's passed to where it's like, I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not great. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. A lot of things.
And another thing, I mean, this is a little bit of a tangent, but since we're on the topic of suicide, or suicidal thoughts, rather, there was a time in my life where I was I was really depressed and actually like, before it's not just a random thought that comes out of the blue when you're thinking about committing suicide. It's usually months and months or a year of just down talking yourself in your head and really negative self-talk. And that's what happened with me. When I was working at Purdue, I just got to this point where I was telling myself every day, like, you're better off dead. Like, I felt stuck. I felt like I had no other option. I felt like I can't quit. I can't just leave. I have a home, I have to pay, I have bills but I don't want to do this anymore. Like, not even just the job, just everything about my life at that point. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, you're talking about me right now.
Yeah. And it got bad. And a friend at the time had like moved in, sort of. He was like crashing at my house for a while, indefinitely, rather. And I just remember one day, like, I reached a point where after, just months and months and months of just like, literally telling myself out loud, like, why are you doing this? Why are you even here anymore? What are you doing? Like, there's an answer. There's a clear answer to all of this. And, I got home and it started to worry me that it was going on for so long. So when I got home, I just looked up blogs or like Google searched just people that were in the same, like, not really wanting to die, but not wanting to do this anymore, not wanting to exist. And that was kind of a breaking point for me when I started searching for stuff like that. And I think I had like passed out, like either at the desk or I just like went, I didn't close it or I minimized it. Maybe it was some subconscious, like, I need someone to see this to help me or something. But my friend that was staying with me ended up getting on my computer and saw it. And he ended up talking to me the next day. And I think it was like a week or two later, I ended up quitting. It was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that helped. I mean, that and so many, I hurt my back at the job. And then while I was out for a while, like a week and a half. And I just realized how different I was because it changed, like being there and just being that miserable and dreadful every single day. Mm-hmm. Even on my off days, I just was not there. Like I was like a robot. And just having that time off and getting to like not feeling that dread and whatnot, I realized I was like, oh, I'm actually like kind of in a good mood and I'm not, dreading life and going and like Mark. Sorry, well, his name was Marcus. I don't care at the time. His name was Marcus, and he would even tell me like, dude, I was getting worried about you because you would just like, we would be hanging out and you would just like get up in the middle of us hanging out and going, I'm not really feeling it, and then just go to bed. Like you weren't even tired. You would just go lay down and then make yourself fall asleep and then sleep for 10, 12 hours at a random time. It's not even like bedtime. or anything. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say is a big change sometimes is necessary. If there's something repetitively that you can point to that is causing it, sometimes if it's not some kind of crazy chemical imbalance in your head, there are things you can do, and sometimes you just have to make a change. Something has to happen. That was quite a tangent, but I feel like it needed to be said and talked about.
It's important.
It kind of fits the theme of the episode.
Yeah.
I guess, do you want to keep going, and then just whenever you...
Yeah, just let's just chunk it up. So you do your chunk, and then I'll kind of do my chunk.
Okay.
And
At any point, if something hits you and you feel like you need to chime in with recounting something, go right on ahead, because I know all the places I want to get to.
All right.
So the next one after Ryan was definitely my grandmother, and that one definitely hit hard because it was kind of out of nowhere, so to speak. So she got lung cancer, and she got put on hospice and told that, I think she was told like she had like 6 months to live, probably at best.
Right.
So we all kind of expected what would happen. And then like a whole year went by, and she kept smoking. She cut down a bit, but she kept smoking. And she didn't go to chemo, nothing. She was like, well, I smoked for 60 years. This is what happens. So I'm just going to live my life. And it was like, all right, it's this time. So she kept smoking. She didn't want to go through all the chemo because that sucks. And all the other treatments, I guess they offered her, sucked too, if they offered it anymore. So after about a year, she was still kicking and went to the hospital or doctors for a checkup or just whatever it was to check in on it. And the cancer went dormant without any intervention. And she was like, dope. She kept smoking.
I see no reason to change.
Yeah. And she probably was still around for, I want to say, another year at least, if not longer.
Right.
And I think she got like Graves' disease or something, and she started getting some more ailments where she wasn't really very healthy. But to my knowledge, nothing actually killed her. Like, to me, that was my first time finding out that you can die of just not wanting to be here anymore. And not by suicide, but like, I guess that's dying of old age. You're just done. And, she was talking about how she was ready to be with Lou again, my grandfather. Right. And, and I was a teenager. I believe this was also in high school. This was not that far after Ryan. And it was for me, it was actually a nice experience to like know it was happening. And I was confused by it because I was like, well, what's wrong? And they're like, she's just dying. It was like a week process of her deciding she was done. And
run out, man. I mean, that's just...
Yeah. And she, just kind of faded away over the course of like a week or two. And the last time that I got to see her, she said, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And that was, I got to see her. She wasn't super healthy, but she was there mentally, like still there and cognizant. And, but it was such a trip to like realize like, oh, that really does happen. There's just, sometimes you just die for no reason other than you're kind of done being here because you've lived a long life. And, I heard that the later end of it, like, the days leading up to her actually taking her last breath were rough. But in a way, I always felt like, man, that's how I want to go. Like that, and the people, I guess that, my mom has told me like, you don't want to go like that. Like, it's not fun. Like, it's not a good way. It's a long process.
Yeah.
But for me, mentally, I was like, but it was kind of beautiful in the way that like she got to live this long, I think in her 80s, like long life. And she got to die in her bed at her home, surrounded by her family. And she checked out. Like she made the decision. she decided it was time to go, and she was ready to go, and just all of that, like having that mindset and being comfortable with it and okay with it. I've always felt like I want that. And I want to be able to go in my home with surrounded by my family and loved ones, and it be my decision, like I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Because most people don't get that option. Most people, it just, something kills them. Something happens. They get sick, you know?
I don't know. I think I'd rather have an abrupt death.
Really?
Yeah, just, I don't even see this coming. Boom, gone. I
I
don't want to live the days up to, I don't want to live the deterioration.
Yeah.
All that pain and anguish, just, you know it's coming. Like, hurry the fuck up, man. I don't want to live through that.
Yeah, I guess.
Honestly, perfect death would just be like freak accident, shot by somebody I didn't know was about to shoot me.
Yeah.
Just something quick. Boom, get it over with. No pain, just immediate done.
That's very not how I want to go.
I'm very desensitized on the subject of death.
That's definitely not how I've always thought, like, if I go, even if it's not like a week-long process or months-long of like getting sick or something, even if it's from being shot, I don't want it to be like shot to the head and mouth. Like, I've got to like be able to, I want to know like that I'm about to, and prepare myself mentally. And I know there's probably,
it's not your problem after that.
But in the moment, you know,
I mean, as soon as you're dead, it's not your problem.
We don't know that though.
I mean, whatever. Find out. Honestly, like if I had to choose, besides freak accident or something, I guess it would still be considered a freak accident. Like go to bed one night, no real pain, die in your sleep.
Oh, I would hate that.
Why? I mean, your mental preparedness that you're fucking, you're putting it on a pedestal, dude. You're putting death on a pedestal.
Because it's a big thing. It's something that we all eventually have to do.
It's the last thing. It's the last thing you have to care about. And if once it happens, you don't care about it anymore.
But it'll give me you also got to think though, it'll give you a moment to really go, okay, if this is the end, I want to think about all the good times that I've
That's
had.
why
and
every day you need to think about the
no
good
one
moments.
does that.
Yeah, well, we need to be better about it, okay?
We do, but death really puts that into perspective
Yes,
in the moment.
Well, if you can learn to live in that perspective, you don't have to save it all for the last. You know, that's how I've been trying to live my life lately. I try to be more, aware of, like, I have a really good life. As much as I make jokes and shit on, my marriage and my kids and everything, I have a really great life. Yeah, so I'm trying to remain aware of that shit, so it's not like right at the end, it's like, oh man, I really fucked up by not paying attention to this. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to derail.
No, you're good. Like I said, I want this to not be so much a monologue as it is a little bit of back and forth as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in here and there, but
Yeah.
like I said, I wanted to keep it like kind of sectional, like your section, and then I guess I'll just kind of close it out, and we'll kind of do like a little wrap after that. Whatever. Kind of a little discussion.
Okay. All right.
Something like that.
Sure. So, okay. So after my grandmother, I would say the next one that affected me was my friend Josh. That was not in high school. That was so there was some years in between that and my grandmother. Josh was, I'm not gonna say a childhood friend, but from 6th grade and up. I mean, we were really close, and especially in like middle school, like we were hanging out every day. Mm. And we always hung out all through high school and even a little bit after high school and stuff. And even, I want to say, I think he died in like his early 20, like 23 maybe. Maybe 22, I'm not sure. We had some differences, so over the years, like leading up to before he died, we weren't hanging out as much. We would kind of we would have months here and there where we were like hanging out more, and then there'd be a while where we just went months without really seeing each other because our lifestyles were just different at the time.
Right.
But we always kind of kept in touch, even if I would call him occasionally or text him, and we'd have conversations, even if we weren't actually hanging out. So he was a lifelong friend for sure. So he got really drunk one night, and so did his brother. And this is all public information, so I don't mind talking about it. Anyone can go see this if they want to read about it, or read more about it, I guess. I don't know why you would, but if you wanted to, it's available, I'm sure, somewhere. So they both got really drunk. And when they got, his brother lives next door, or I don't know if he still does, but lived next door to his mother because it was just easier to be closer to home. And he had the whole house. I mean, it was a different house, but just lived conveniently next door. And I guess, you know, I wasn't physically there, but, you know, a close friend of mine was with them. And so basically, you know, Josh was really drunk and he was being loud and kind of obnoxious as people that are drunk can get. So he was like, hey man, come next door, come crash at my place. I don't, you know, mom's got to be up for work in the morning. I don't want you to, you know, bother her or wake her up, you know, just crash here. It's no problem. I got plenty of space in here. And Josh has always kind of had this complex because his brother's so much older than him. I mean, we're talking a 10-year gap plus. So he's always kind of been an adult before Josh was and stuff like that. And, you know, at a very young age, Josh's dad killed himself. So Jason at times was kind of the father figure because he was so much older than his little brother. Right. And so Josh always kind of had this complex of him like treating him like he's his dad instead of his brother. And that, so him telling him like in his words, telling him what to do pissed him off. So he got mad and angry with him and was like, you know, wanting to fight him basically, and was like, you're not my fucking dad. Don't tell me what to do. If I want to go in my house and sleep, that's what I'm going to do. And like, I guess he pushed his brother. So his brother hit him, you know, cause he pushed him. So he punched him, and just the way that he hit the ground, I guess cracked his skull, and I guess probably drinking probably had something to do with this, you know, made it, I guess maybe with its blood pressure or something, but it just made it to where
your blood's thin when you're drunk.
Yeah.
You can't clot up and, like, you know, stop the bleeding. It's
yeah.
easy.
So he, it fucked his head up. And, you know, I guess he was on life support for a couple days or something, and there was just nothing there. There was no brain activity or anything. And, I didn't know about any of this as it was going on either. And when I didn't even really get to see him. Like, you know, a few other friends had, but so when I found out, I was at college, and well, a tech school, same thing, I guess, a degree program or diploma program. So when I found out, we were on a break in between classes. It was like a smoke break, because it was a block schedule. You know, we were going 8 hours a day. Yeah. 5 days a week, just kind of really run through it all so we can get my degree fast. So it was the little, you know, change in between classes. And my friend called me and said, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm in class, or I'm on break right now. And, you know, she sounded really upset. And then she told me, like, Josh is gone. I don't know if you've already known or if someone's called you or told you yet, but Josh passed away last night, or died like today or last night, or I don't remember exactly. And that at that moment was the hardest a death had hit me yet. 'Cause I don't think she realized how close we were when she told me. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't expecting the reaction. But I mean, I literally, like, it's like out of the movies. I like dropped to my knees, and people were like, is he okay? And, like, you know, came over and was like, dude, are you all right? And I just like got back up and I walked to my car, I walked back into class. I said, I was so in awe when she told me also that I was like, this isn't a joke. Like, you're serious? And you're like, yes, I'm sorry. Like he's gone. And I thanked her for telling me, and that I had to let her go. And I went immediately back in the classroom, just weeping, like faces wet, walked into the classroom and told my teacher, I was like, my friend's dead, I gotta go. And that's all I could get out. That's all I said. I was like, my friend's dead, I gotta go. He's like, all right, bye.
Yeah, why'd you even come back?
Yeah, do what you gotta
Explain
do.
it later.
Exactly. So
now you made it weird for everybody.
I left, and it's this girl also, like crossing me on the way. She had no idea what I was crying about. She just saw that I was crying, and she was so sweet because She didn't know, and she just asked, "It's gonna be okay." Like as I walked by her,
He's dead.
like you're gonna get through whatever this is, Scott. And I really appreciated that. But like, you have no idea what's happened. But
Shut your fucking mouth, bitch. You don't even know.
so I got back into my car, and I didn't know where I was going. I was just going. I left, and I was going home, I guess. I found that out as I was driving. I was like, I guess I'm going home. And the first song that I heard, that now will always remind me of that moment or him passing, or remind me of him in general, was this "Bring Me the Horizon" song. "Can You Feel My Heart?" I think it was. Mm-hmm. So now I cannot hear that without thinking about him or his death or whatever it is. And it's an emotional song already at that, so it was fitting. But so on the drive, and when I got home, I was just like, I guess I got to tell people, because they have to know. And I called a few close friends of mine that were friends with him as well, and shared the news. And then so that was the first time a close friend of mine had passed away. So that was hard to fathom or deal with. And the viewing and the funeral was very, very weird. Weird, I mean, weird for a different reason as well. The funeral was a fucking nightmare because they made it this huge religious thing, and he wasn't even that religious, and they turned it into this trying to convert people. So if I are at a funeral, don't let that shit happen.
I am ordained, so.
Okay, I'll let you take care of it then.
All right. I'll do if I don't die before you, I got you, man.
Okay, hold me to that.
Let's be honest. I mean, I'm probably going to die first.
I don't know. I smoke quite a bit. And I'm very unhealthy. I eat a lot of bad food.
I'll probably die from something not health related.
That's. I'll let you talk about that during your. I'm just kidding. So yeah, that was definitely the first time I realized, like, oh, and that really set into motion this thought process of, okay, so he's not the first one, or he's the first one, but he's not the last. Like, this is gonna happen throughout the rest of my life. Like, people that I know are going to die, and out of nowhere most of the time probably. And you just prepare yourself that use this as an experience to grieve them, but also be prepared, like, this is going to happen again, and this is just a part of life that you're gonna have to accept. So that was not only a very emotional time for me, but also very learning, or it was a learning experience and preparation for future deaths, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I also did have this is, I guess, a little bit of a tangent, a little off topic, sort of, but I did have a couple of visitation dreams, where that's what people call them, at least, just dreams where it's like the same thing, like they're there and they're communicating with you, but not through words. Like, you just kind of know what they're thinking, sort of. It's weird, and they're very like, it's like they're there in the dream, but not part of the dream, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's basically like it's a visitation. Like, it's supposed to be really them there, and it's like an easy way to get to you and talk to you on a spiritual level is through your dreams. Yeah. So I've had a few of those, and they are different, because I've had dreams where he's there, but it's not the same. He just happens to be in the dream, and I haven't even really connected to the dots that he's even dead. Like, when I'm in the dream sometimes. Or I'll have dreams where I'm like, dude, I thought you were dead. And he's like, no, I've been here, man. I just had a thing or whatever. But I do eventually want to have an episode full-fledged dreams. So I'm gonna save that for that. Talking more about that. But yeah, so that was definitely at that point the most impactful death that I experienced.
I don't know if my dream about my dad counts as a visitation dream, but it was kind of like what you just said, where like, oh man, I thought you were dead. Because I had the one, like, it's no secret my dad killed himself. Like, I talked about it so fucking much. I think I might have even told this dream on the podcast early on.
I don't recall.
Oh, Well, we had a dream. It was supposed to be a dream episode early on, but
It kind of got derailed very quickly.
we kind of just talked about a few things, and this is like I don't have a lot of dreams that I remember, but this one
Yeah.
really fucked me up because I went to my dad's house sometime after he killed himself to like get something, and I was like, I was the executor of the will, and like I was his only child, so
Yeah.
everything that was his just kind of became mine, and I had to figure out what to do with it. And like in the dream, I went to visit the house to do something, and I went inside, and him and his girlfriend were there, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? He's like, you killed yourself. What are you doing here? He's like, I didn't do that. I faked my death, kind of shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
What?
I've definitely had that same.
and he's like, yeah, so
feeling.
sorry. And then I beat the shit out of him in my dream for faking his death.
I don't blame you.
It's a weird dream. Those are the only dreams I ever
And you
remember.
didn't tell me?
Yeah.
And you went and got a girlfriend?
Well, he had a girlfriend when he killed himself.
Oh, it was the same one?
It was an ex-girlfriend because that's like part of the reason he killed himself. Anyway,
Okay,
that's,
okay. It's
my
all-
segment's coming up.
I got you. Yeah.
Hold all applause, please.
All right. So after Josh, over the years, we've had plenty of animals die, family pets, mostly dogs. And usually it's because they just get very unhealthy. Their quality of life's bad. They get old, whatever it may be.
Is this the recent one?
No, not yet.
Okay, I was about to say.
That's going to be the last one.
Well, that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
thought you were skipping over something that you haven't talked about on here yet. I figured.
Yeah.
If you're bringing that up, you can. I mean, I don't give a shit.
What's that?
I said you can if you want.
Oh, yeah, I'm going.
Okay,
That's going to be
alright.
the last one. I was going to close out with that.
With.
Willow. Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about something before Willow.
Oh,
You
Cameron?
haven't-
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
Alright.
Yeah.
I was just. I didn't know you hadn't talked about it yet.
Yeah. So, we've dealt with animals dying and stuff, but those were also very like I wasn't really there. A couple of them were. There was this one time these two dogs when I was living on my own just like showed up at my house and like didn't leave. And I befriended them. And I wouldn't say that I took them in to own them, but they were there. And I'd put food out for them, and they just kind of hung around the house all day. And eventually, I just kind of was like, all right, let's keep you guys in the yard. And I fed them and got toys for them and stuff. And they were there for several weeks. And I put an ad out for lost dogs and stuff, put them both on, got a few people reach out, but nothing really substantial. But, I really enjoyed these dogs' company. And one of them got really sick. It ended up being Parvo. One of them got really sick. And at this point, I had become attached to the dogs. And the one dog with Parvo, I don't remember what time it was and what the treatment was like for Parvo or how accessible it was. But I remember taking the dog to the vet. And at this point, it had puked up everywhere, and it stopped eating, and literally to get it to the vet, I had to pick it up off the ground and carry him, and that was a very emotional experience, like taking him to the vet, and I ultimately had to put him down because according to the vet, there was nothing we could do, and that he's in very late stages of Parvo, and there's really nothing they can do.
Right.
So yeah, that was very upsetting. There's a whole other thing where the other dog, we ended up finding a home for it, but they were just turning it around to sell him to somebody, which really pissed me off. That's a whole other story. But I don't really want to get into that. Basically, long story short, they told us that they were wanting to take him in as like their dog. And then the next day, new ad up on Craigslist and other sites, and there's the dog we just gave him to him with the same toy that I gave to him and whatnot, and they were selling him for more money. We were just a small rehoming fee to make sure it went to a home that somebody that wasn't gonna, Anyways, they flipped them.
You mean investment?
Yeah, an investment. So anyways, yeah. So after that was really the only. For the next few years after Josh, that was the only death that really hit me. And, the other dogs hit me too, like our family dogs and stuff. But, it wasn't unexpected. They were very healthy towards the end of their lives and whatnot. And they ended up getting put down for whatever for whatever reason at the time it was for each one. So then the next death was more recent. I hadn't really, other than animals, no human deaths had really affected me on the same level. There had been a few here and there, but nothing substantial to me really until early on in this year. My friend Cameron, who I had also been friends with since like high school, 9th grade, passed away. And you remember, you know Cameron, yeah. Me and him on and off over the years had always kept in touch, but we weren't really regularly hanging out unless it was like with a mutual friend that happened to be there, because we just had two different lifestyles. But we had both always really connected on music, so if we did, we would pretty much, every time we hung out, it would just be what you and me were doing before the podcast. We would just listen to music and show each other like, hey man, that was our catching up. What songs have I missed out on that you've really enjoyed? Because we both connected like that on that level with music. So I got a chance, like before he died, a couple of times to hang out with him because he was in town, and we just did what we always did. We just went right back to just listening to music. I would drive around, we would chain smoke, and we wouldn't even really talk that much. We would just like, oh dude, you're gonna love this one, so, back and forth. And that was just how we hung out. And we talked a little, here and there, but it was definitely good to be able to reconnect with him and like hang out with him a few times before he passed. And he passed really suddenly because I didn't even know he had a problem. Like I don't know the full story, but I know that he had like bronchitis or something. And then ever since then, it like gave him asthma, and he would go through these fits of asthma that I didn't even know about until after he passed. And one day his asthma got so bad that he just straight up couldn't, he couldn't breathe, and he passed out. And they took him to the hospital, or they had called 911 or whatever, and they came and got him. But he was out for so long that he just didn't get enough blood to his brain, and ceased to have activity or whatever. And that was the second time I had seen somebody in on like a life support situation, and the whole time leading up to that, before that, when I first heard the news that he was in the hospital and he wasn't doing well, I was very hopeful that he was going to make it. I was like, well, if everyone thinks he's going to die, then that energy is only going to just not do anything positive. It's not going to help. So I have to be positive and hope that he just makes it out of this and that he comes back to us. And, the day beforehand, before they were going to take him off life support, I went up and saw him. And this is also like mid-pandemic. Like by mid-pandemic, I mean everyone's on the heavy lockdowns. It's kind of loosened up a bit since then. But this was, we had to, a lot of people were worried to even go to the hospital to see him. But we all kind of were like, this is more important. We have to go see him and be there for him. And we went up and saw him. And that when I saw him, I was like, oh, yeah, he's probably gone. And I kept thinking of like what I was going to tell him when I would see him. And then when I actually got there in person, and it actually worked out perfectly, because when we were there, they had us, like, to see him, we all had to go up in one by one, or in pairs rather. They had to take two people at once because of COVID. So they didn't want to, they had to separate people out and have us wait.
Right.
So when it came up, there was an odd number of people. So when it came time for me to go up, most people had went up, and I ended up just going up by myself. And it actually ended up just working out, like, because I didn't even know what to say. I just like, I basically just thanked him for hanging out with me and reconnecting with me before he went, and mostly just cried. Didn't really make out very, it was a weird situation. It wasn't a closed room. It was because of the hospital situations. He didn't have his own room. They had this lobby area just like sectioned off by curtains. So I felt like I couldn't even really talk out loud anyways. So it was more just what am I going to tell myself in this moment? Not what am I going to tell him? And I just sat there with him for a minute and then was like, all right, I guess I'm ready to go back down. I'm glad I got to see him, I guess, while he's still here. But to me, it also didn't even really seem like I was like, he's not here. He's just a body.
Right.
And, it turned out to be, they took my passport. He didn't make it. So, it is weird though. Like when you go to funerals, it's just like, it's like a reunion for everybody. Like everyone that you hadn't seen in months or years, they're all in this one place gathered again. And then they all tell each other, hey, we should keep in touch more. Yeah. And it just never quite happens. Yeah. So, that was this year. And that was definitely, it hit me kind of hard, but I'd already dealt with Josh, who was my closest friend at the time and a lifelong friend in a different way than Cameron was.
Right. So
it was very emotional at the time and maybe the day or two following, but I moved on pretty, I guess like you said, you just get stronger, you get more resilient as you get older. So I think I've just been more resilient and, I grieved him. I felt like I grieved him in a healthy way. Like I didn't get too upset. I don't feel like I got under upset either. The funeral definitely was, he had a nice funeral. They allowed us to all be there and because there was talks that we might not even be able to do a funeral because of COVID. So it was strange, like the way everything worked out, but it all worked out and we were able to see him and do everything we wanted to do. Right. So yeah, that was it's the last human death that's affected me. And there was we talked about it a little bit briefly, but there was a lot of drama surrounding it too. So that made it more difficult to deal with. But we've already discussed some of that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. 1 second. So the most recent death that has affected me was my cat Willow. And my cat Willow, and I say my cat Willow because, she's been in the house a long time and she's basically been a family cat. And then she got really attached to my brother Matthew. And then Matthew moved out and took her with him. And so there was a period of time where she wasn't home and she was with Matthew in his apartment. And that didn't last too long. I want to say that was probably like 6 months to a year, somewhere in that, maybe less. Probably around 6 months, maybe. Mm-hmm. And whenever she got back to the house, she wasn't quite the same. Like she was, I guess maybe we might have had new cats since then. So she didn't like them. She didn't get along with them. So she would seclude herself to a room basically. And she was fine with that. She didn't want to leave the room really or anything and deal with the other cats, except for the only cat she got along with was Sebastian, who was there. Oh wait, Sebastian. So I'm going to put a pause on that real quick. I want to talk about Sebastian.
Okay.
Sebastian was another cat we had, family cat. He also died this year, I believe. And there was also like the same as my grandmother. To our knowledge, there wasn't really anything that killed him. It was like a weak process of him just getting weaker and passing. And I was kind of in denial about it at first when it was happening. Both my parents knew he was dying, but I was like, God, he's probably just sick, and they eventually took him to the vet, and the vet was like, he's dying. That's all it is. He's just old, and he's decided that it's his time. So yeah, I just wanted to disclose that. Like that did hit me hard, but not quite the way Will has.
Right.
It was just another one of those, wow, okay, even animals just decide they're done and just die there's a dying process where you just die. So there was that. So anyways, back to my original, with Willow. Willow did get along with Sebastian because they've both been here the whole time. And so Sebastian would come in and out of my room. But to get to the point, Willow would usually attach herself to somebody. And when she came back, Matthew moved somewhere else but didn't take her with him. So she ended up getting really attached to me, and I got really attached to her. And so for the next several years, she's been in my room every night. Both before I moved out and then when I came back, because of, I was on my own when I was working at Purdue, and then I ended up moving back in. So she's been with me the whole time, basically, with the exception of when I lived on my own, but I would come back and visit her and stuff like that. So we were close on a different level than the other cats, because she would sleep next to me every single night. And we had like a routine, like every time I'd come in, she'd give me a high five. She would always, like reach her paw out and I would give her some dap or whatever. So what happened with her was she was old. She was probably at least 15, anywhere between 15 and 17 years old. So it was, it wasn't completely unexpected that something would happen, but the way that she died was very quick and out of nowhere. And not like she didn't get like sick or anything. Like it just happened. She had a heart attack basically.
Right.
But so what happened was one night I remember I laid down and I was playing a game on my phone and she like came up and was like basically putting her face in front of the phone for me to pet her. And I said, you're not going to let me play this, are you? So I put the phone down and just started petting her and hanging out with her. And, laying there for a minute with her, and she does that for a while, and then eventually gets to a point where she decides, okay, I'm just gonna lay next to you, but I don't really, you can pet me if you want, you don't have to kind of thing. But she likes to lay next to me, but it's not on me like she was at first. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get back on my phone for a second. And I got back on, and when she moved over and was like repositioning herself to get comfortable, she I felt like she was wobbling a little bit, like she looked a little weird when I looked over at her, and then she just fell off the bed. And she can be clumsy sometimes a little bit, so I thought she was just being clumsy and misstepped and just jumped off the bed or something. And I expected her to just get up and then run back up onto the bed, jump on the bed, or run up somewhere, and she didn't. And like a couple seconds had passed, and I was like, wait a second. And I looked down beside the bed, and she wasn't moving. She hit the ground, and then it was like she relaxed and just like went kind of limp. And I started yelling for my mom because she was home, and she opened the door, and I was like, something's wrong. She's not, she like fell off the bed and just passed out. And I'm panicking. I don't really know what to do. And then Willow does this thing where she like kind of comes to, like she takes this big gasp of air and her eyes open. And then she starts making these weird, like breathing, like gasping noises sort of. And, like throws up a little bit, and then she's awake, but she's still kind of out of it. And I asked my mom to go get the cat carrier. She needs to go to the vet now. Like, we got to do something. Something is wrong. And then eventually she kind of comes it's like a snap. Like she's back to like fully. And then she runs and jumps she gets under the bed. And then it's a big ordeal trying to get her, because I don't want to scare her, but she's got to go. Like, she's got to go to the vet. And she's already a really skittish cat. So I'm like tearing the room apart, like trying to get her. And eventually, eventually I do. And we get her to the emergency vet. And they're talking about they're closing soon, or like, but if you hurry up, we'll see her or whatever. And I haul ass there, and it's COVID pandemic, so there's all, I have to hand the carrier off to them, and like, they're like, all right, well, we're going to send you a text message and just start responding to all the things that we're going to send you, because like information or whatever. So while I'm doing that, and then they come back out. It seems like not even 10 minutes. They come back out with her, and they're like, all right, well, we looked at her, and it sounds like she's got a heart murmur. I'm like, A heart, okay, heart. And she's like, oh yeah, sometimes that can cause the heart to like stop momentarily, and it can cause them to pass out, and then their body just has to kind of reset, and they'll come back to you like she did. And she's like, you should follow up and go to your regular vet and see what kind of medicine she needs to get on or whatever. And I was like, whew, okay, so there is something, but she's not in immediate danger. And so I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed now. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be all right. She's had some heart issues. We'll get her some medicine. She'll be fine. We'll figure it out. But she's old, so just expect, this will probably get worse in the future. So I took her advice that she suggested that I should probably follow up with my regular vet, and I go immediately to my vet because they opened it. Like, the reason I went to the emergency vet is because A, it's an emergency, and B, because the regular vet wasn't open yet. It was that early in the morning. So I go straight to the vet, and the whole time, like, I'm noticing that she's starting to pant a little bit. I've never seen cats pant before, but I figured it was just because of anxiety, because she's in a car in a cat carrier. She just collapsed. So I went straight there. I told him what the situation, handed her off in the cat carrier, and told her, she's panting, but I think it's just anxiety. And I went back home, and I went and got Chick-fil-A, and I watched Good Mythical Morning in my car, ate Chick-fil-A, and just kind of hung out waiting for the call back to see when I can, I need to be on standby. When can I go see her? And the vet called me and said she didn't make it. I was, what do you mean? What happened?
I brought her to you. She made it
Yeah.
there. I know she's there.
What do you mean?
Where's my cat?
And she said, she was already in critical condition when we got her, and we put her on life support and a ventilator and tried to get her breathing, and she wasn't breathing, and she was like very frantic about, because she didn't really know, it seemed like, what. And when she told me as if like, well, yeah, you brought me in a dying cat. Like, you didn't think that she might not make it. That's the way she sounded. And that's what caught me off guard, because according to the emergency vet, she was fine. She just had a heart murmur. Mm-hmm. And so basically what happened was she had a heart attack and a blood clot in her heart, or I don't know if it was exactly in her heart. I'm not a medical professional, so I can tell you. But it was fatal, and there was nothing they could have done anyways. But there's a whole conversation we had where I'm mad at the emergency vet for not catching that they gave me a dying cat to bring to a vet. But I don't really want to get into that. Other than I'm mad that I feel like they took the opportunity away from me to say goodbye to her, because if I had known she was going to die, I would have said bye. But I took her to the vet thinking that I'm just going to have to figure out what medicine to put her on. So that hit me really hard. And I've had some time, now to process, which is why we're having this episode now. And that was definitely the most emotional I've been in years. I cried for hours, and for the following next few days, it wasn't good. They gave me like a sort of cementy kind of thing, like paw print thing, and a tuft of her hair to get. And like that first night that I worked, afterwards, like the next night, I didn't cry at all at work. And then when I got home from work, I went to my room and I was like, all right. Oh, the whole day at work, I'm like, all right, I feel like I grieved her yesterday, and I'm moving on pretty healthy today. And then I got home, and just going home to like an empty room, was like, just said it all over again. And basically when all this happened, by the way, like taking her to the vet, I was in a panic, and I tripped out the front door. Like, I don't know if you guys remember on the podcast, I talked about breaking a rib, basically fracturing or bruising one. I tripped and fell out the front door with her in the carrier and, ate shit on the ground. And so now I'm dealing with this bruised rib and this grieving my cat. And because of all this, my anxiety started to shoot up. So it was only a few days in of just a hole in my heart and constant weeping, constant crying. I started to get an anxiety attack, a legitimate anxiety attack I hadn't had in years before that. So I just had to compartmentalize it and put it somewhere else in my head, which pissed me off because I wanted to grieve her and I felt like I couldn't even do that. So, I just had to stop thinking about it. And I'm finally actually within the past week or so thinking about it again and going back to it. And the other night there's this lo-fi version of The Office song. It's like the Office theme song, but it's lo-fi and sad. And when I heard it, it just hit something in my head where it made me start to weep. And I just held my cat's tuft of hair. That's the first thing I went to. I held my cat's tuft of hair and cement print thing and just sat there and cried for a little bit. And it felt good. It felt like, okay, I'm back. I can actually grieve her again and, process it again. And it's not compartmentalized anymore. And, yeah, man, that was, it was tough. It was hard to deal with. I haven't been that upset in a long time. And maybe I did need to compartmentalize it and put it off for a minute because my brain just wasn't capable of accepting or handling what happened. And I know there's people out there that they don't get the same kind of emotional or the same way when it comes to animals dying. So maybe they don't get it. But for me, it affected me several times worse than when Cameron died on an emotional, on how it affected me level. And both are sad, I miss Cameron, but Willow was my roommate, and my best friend. And I wasn't ready for her to go. And I used to sing to her every night. And I'm hoping that the way that she went on the way to the vet, because I thought that she was having anxiety, I sang to her on the way to the vet. And I'm hoping that was the last memory that she had. I hope that her last memory was me singing to her, because she liked that. And I might even, if you're cool with it, I might even send you the song so we can outro it with the song that I used to sing her the theme of. If you're cool, I'll send it to you. And
Yeah, it's fine. It's just,
All right.
Is it a copyright thing?
I don't think so. It's I don't think it's going to get copyrighted, put it that way.
You're the one that's always worried about copyright shit.
I know. But whenever if you guys hear it, if it's not the regular outro, whatever the theme of that song is the theme that I used to sing her, and I would just replace all the words with Willow. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically my chronological, the deaths that I've experienced and how I've, dealt with them over the years. This is the one I definitely didn't deal with the best, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I processed it how anyone else would or normally. I don't know if that was a healthy response or not. Maybe it just means that we were really close. So I got really upset, you know. Probably.
I guess.
But yeah, I mean that concludes my sad shit.
Hell yeah, dude. Debating on if I want to save my death shit for another episode because it's fucking 2:23 in the morning.
How long have I been going?
Over an hour.
Shit. Maybe we should.
It's just a thing if I gotta wake up in like 6 or 7.
Do you think you got an episode? Or however long, I mean,
No,
I know that wasn't a full episode that I did on that, so.
I mean, I could run through everything because I'm not gonna go deep into detail. I don't.
It's up to you, man. Whatever you're comfortable with or want to do. If you want to save it for another episode, we can.
It's. I mean, I'm comfortable with it. It's just I'm gonna be tired as fuck. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Fuck it. Doesn't matter at this point. I'm gonna be tired. All right. So first thing I guess was an animal, which is weird because like as I grew older, I don't know. I don't have the same attachment to animals as I once did. I guess. The first one wasn't even... Actually, I think this was the first one. It wasn't even mine or animal I knew at all. It was just... I was on the way back from Lake Oconee, I think, wherever out there, somewhere in Georgia. It's a lake. We were coming back from, like, a vacation. I was with my grandpa and my grandma, my dad's dad and mom. And we were driving down the road. No other vehicles on the road. There was just a dog in the middle of the road. My grandpa just ran straight the fuck over it. Didn't try to avoid it or anything. Just.
What about immediately after, or as it happened?
What do you mean?
Did she give a shit?
My grandma did, yeah, but she wasn't driving. My grandpa was the one driving.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, whoever. I thought she was driving. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, my grandpa was driving. My papa.
Did he respond to it or react to it at all?
No. It was my papa and my mama. That's what we call it. Mama was like, he ran the dog over. What the hell? And he was like, I couldn't stop, because I think he had an RV on the back of the truck. So he was like, we couldn't have stopped anyway. I didn't want to swerve around it because, it could have lost control, all this shit. And I'm like, I mean, now as a driver, I mean, I get it. Like, that's what they tell you to do. But
yeah.
Still, like, no other vehicles.
It was like, well, it was also like.
You could have done it. But, you could have made it, dude.
Well, it's not just that. It seems like the way you're explaining it is there's like a lack of remorse or a lack of.
Oh, yeah, he was a piece of shit. I fucking hate that guy.
Wow.
He's a fucking asshole. Anyway, so that was like probably my first encounter with death. Unnecessary death at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second one is also an animal, but it was mine. I don't remember how old I was. Maybe like, was I in middle school? I might have been in middle school. I don't know. But I had a chicken. And that chicken stayed in my room with me. It was a baby. And like one morning I just woke up, it was dead. In the crate. I had like a little blanket and everything to try to keep it warm and all that shit. Woke up one morning, it's dead. I fucking cry about it. My dad's like, it's just a chicken. I'm like, it's not just a chicken. All the, whatever.
How long had you had this chicken?
Not long, honestly.
Don't remember.
No, I mean, it wasn't long. Like it was my uncle's ex-wife, or maybe they were together at the time.
But when you're that age,
it
you can gain an attachment very quickly.
It was a baby chicken. How can you not get attached immediately?
Oh, it was a baby chicken?
A chick, dude.
Oh, man.
Baby chicken. Okay? And it died very shortly after I had it. I didn't know if it was my fault, if I did something wrong, and it, like something I could have prevented, or whatever, or just natural causes. The baby chicken's just like, I don't know. Fuck this shit.
Checked out real early.
Yeah. Like, man, I'm done with this. So, anyway, that happened.
I know where this goes. I'm not going to become.
Yeah, before I went to school that day, I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm not, I didn't even want to go to school.
Yeah.
But, I was like, we went and buried it and all that shit before I left. So, that was that. And that was, I don't know, that was sad. And then, never really had many friends die or anything. Like, Ryan was probably the first one that I guess, we were friends, we talked and everything, but, that didn't really affect me because we weren't very close at the time of it happening. And, like, my views on death are very not normal. the first, my grandma, my mama, she was on a long path of just deterioration, congestive heart failure, like all sorts of shit. She was rough, and I watched her break down over time. By the time she passed away, I already knew what was happening. I was comfortable with it. This is probably like 2008. I think it was February of 2008. I'm a little shaky on my timelines, but
Yeah.
for some reason that sounds right. So she died. No big deal. I went through it. No, I didn't cry or anything. I was just like, yep, well, I mean, this happens. And then, I don't know, like 6 months later, I was just sitting in my room one day and it fucking hit me and I started crying about it. And then, July of 2009, 2 weeks before I was about to turn 18, when my dad killed himself. That was completely unexpected. I was hanging out with my mom over at my grandma's house, my mom's mom and them. And my mom pulled me aside, and I could tell she was trying to not cry. She was like, I gotta tell you something. I was like, all right. I expected my papa to be dead, because,
Yeah.
I just figured that's the way things progressed. So I was prepared to hear that. I didn't really care, because I fucking hate that guy. But anyway, she brings me in and tells me my dad's dead, and I immediately, dropped to my knees, all that shit, cry for hours. Eventually learned it was a suicide. And they didn't tell me right away. They just told me he was dead. And if you've ever heard my stand-up...
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what was the living situation? Like, did you live with or near your dad?
No, I live with my mom.
How often would you see your dad?
Towards the end, I mean, just whenever. I was driving and everything, so I can go down there and see him. We had been kind of building back a relationship.
Okay.
We didn't have a good relationship because I was a wild kid and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. My dad was trying to be the strict one. So I was more drawn to my mom because she would let me have my freedom and shit. But then my dad just also was like, he was addicted to meth. I didn't know at the time, but it affected him, obviously. So all that happened was him and his girlfriend got into a fight and she left and wouldn't answer his calls or whatever, so he killed himself. Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have done if he was sober. So, but that happened the day I found out. I went to my dad's side of the family. They were doing a little get together, making preparations, all that shit. And like I say it in my stand up, like, the first thing my grandpa said, my dad's dad, was like, well, you ain't got a father anymore. So that was the first thing he said to me when I saw him. So it's like, that's fucked up.
It's nice of him.
And I also make the joke about how I was gonna kill myself when I was 13, and my dad was like, "What the hell you want to do that crazy ass shit for?" And then he killed himself a few years later. It's like, fuck you, dude. So
I think you said it was a dick move.
It's a dick move, man. Dick move. So that's that. I ain't got a father anymore. So I went on. I mean, it fucked me up for a while. Like probably for 3 to 4 years after that, I thought about killing myself every day. Yeah, that's probably about a good timeline for that, 3 to 4 years. Like every day, just back to suicidal thoughts.
Anything pull you out of that? Anyone?
Nah, that's the weird thing. Like, I don't want to get too deep into this right now, but like, I've got a long history of dealing with depression and like just anxiety and bipolar and like, okay, so when I was 13, I don't talk about this a lot because I haven't been checked up on this since 13. When I was gonna kill myself, they sent me to Central State Hospital. I was diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar, and schizophrenia. So I mean, I've got all that going on. I don't know what's all still completely relevant, but I don't like to make that a big. I don't want that to be my opening. Like I meet somebody.
Yeah.
I don't want my mental illness to be the thing that's like the most common conversation piece. And I feel like I managed pretty fine for what I got going on. I'm not doing good inside, but outside I kind of keep it barely together. Whatever. Good enough. So that happened. I think I can't remember who died next. It's either my mom's side, my grandpa there, or my... Oh, no, I do know. It's my papa, the one that I don't like.
Yeah.
Because we were living in Indiana at the time. He passed away. Since my dad was already dead, I ended up being the heir to whatever my dad's portion of the payout was, which was nice. One good thing that came from it passing.
The last thing he was able to give you.
Yeah, other than fucking hard time and bullshit. This guy was a piece of shit. I hated this guy so fucking much. Like, just listening to the stories of what he did to my dad and my uncle and everything. Like, he would, like, if they did something wrong, he would take them out into, like, the shop and, like, hang them from a rope and beat them while they're hanging.
Jesus Christ.
And he's, like, constantly talking shit about my uncle about being an alcoholic, but he, like, was constantly drunk on moonshine, and he smoked, like, fucking 2 or 3 packs a day. He's, like, in his 80s.
Yeah.
If we kind of figured that he was just so full of hate and anger that he wouldn't ever die. Glad we were wrong about that. Oh, also, okay, when my dad killed himself, everything became mine. I was the executor of the will. I was his only heir, whatever. So, like, his house that he had in Kathleen and an acre of land, that all became mine, which he hadn't been paying taxes on it. He was way behind. I didn't know it was going up for auction. They auctioned it off. My papaw bought it to give it to somebody else, not to give it to me, not so it can stay in the family. He was just going to give it. I think he was going to give it to my uncle, who's also a piece of shit. On top of that, they went in and stole, like, all the guns and, like, all sorts of shit out of the house that was mine. But, since they lived right there around it. It was like my dad's house. There's a whole bunch of, like, fields that my uncle owned. Behind that was my papaw's house, and then, like, other side was uncle's house. So, like, they all lived right there. Easy access, go in and out whenever they wanted to. I wasn't there. So they stole, like, a whole bunch of shit.
If you don't mind me interjecting real quick, the Peepaw? Papaw? How did he respond to your dad dying?
I don't know. Like I said, the first thing he said to me was, well, you ain't got a dad anymore. He's a fucking, he's a real...
Just didn't seem like
this
he really
is the
cared
same
that
one
much.
that ran the dog over.
Yeah.
First story. Yeah. He's just an asshole.
Wow.
So it's like that kind
Sorry,
of shit. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't show it if he felt anything. But... Shit, where was I? Stealing
stuff,
shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he bought it at the auction. Rachel ended up telling me, she was like, you need to look at the taxes on the tax website and make sure everything's still, you still got time to get, like, some money up for it, blah, blah, blah. And I looked on it one night and noticed everything had been paid. I'm like, well, maybe somebody paid it for us. Like, they know that I didn't have, like, a job or anything, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I saw that. Next day they opened up. I called them. And they were like, yeah, we auctioned that off. I'm like, nah. I'm like, you're going to have to cancel that. He goes, why? I was like, I'm the executor of the estate. I was like, I wasn't notified. I'm like, I live in Macon. I can't get down to Kathleen all the time. All this shit.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we had signs up. I'm like, I can't go down there, dude. I don't have a job. I'm like, I'm broke as fuck right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is all I got, really, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't have the opportunity to go down a lot. So I didn't know it was there. And he was like, all right, let me verify what you're telling me and all this shit, and I'll call you back. And he called me back a few hours later and was like, all right, verified everything you said, canceled the sale. You have till, it was like 3 or 4 months. He was like, you can either pay these taxes off and keep it, or you can sell it and, pay it that way. He's like, whatever you got to do, but, January of, next year, it's going back up for auction. I was like, all right.
And what was this that was going for auction?
My dad's house in an acre of land.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so that all happened. It was like 2 weeks before the deadline. I couldn't come up with the money to pay the taxes because, again, I wasn't working.
Yeah.
And like 2 weeks before the deadline, somebody came through to buy it. So we did that, paid the taxes off, all that shit. And afterwards, I kind of felt, I'm like, all right, maybe I should try to have a relationship with that side of the family. My dad's dead, my grandma's dead, which were the only 2 people I really liked on that side of the family. Anyway, but I was like, all right, I got a kid now. Maybe they'll want to be involved in his life. Whatever, trying to be the bigger person. I go out there, see my papaw, show him the kid and all this shit, and all he fucking talks about is how I wish he would have let me get that land. Blah, 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 all this and that. I'm like, well, I wish you wouldn't have stole all my shit. Fuck you, dude. So, that was kind of how that went. So he died. I was in Indiana. Like I said, whatever. No big deal. Fuck that guy. Then my mom's dad, which is not my biological grandfather, he was, grandfather by birth. He was a good influence in my life. He was a veteran, so he had like a lot of structure in his life. He retired from the Air Force as a lieutenant colonel. Then he worked at Middle Georgia Tech before, became Central Georgia Tech and somewhere in the office. And he retired from there too. So he was like the only person in my life that's ever been like a good, somebody to model yourself after. Really, he was the only one that had his shit together.
Mm-hmm.
So after he retired, that's immediate, like not immediately, but like pretty quickly after things started going downhill with just health and everything. And he slipped in, he had like Parkinson's and dementia started setting in and like all sorts of shit. And then their house got too much to maintain. Nobody could, nobody had the money to fucking take it over to keep it in the family. So they ended up selling it, moving into a retirement home. And then that didn't work out for some reason because my grandma, she always complained about everything. Then they moved from there to another one, and then they moved in with my aunt, and then they moved in my mom, and then they moved back into another nursing home, and he got sick one night, went to the hospital, and he died there. So that was like, again, at this point, I'm over death. I'm like, I get it. It's a part of life. I probably haven't even processed this one, but when it happened, I was like, yeah, I knew it was coming. Again. It's sad. I've never been able to. I'm completely desensitized to death, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say here. Like I am completely understanding that it's a part of life, and it's like the only guarantee that we have. But I've never been able to get completely detached to the point where I don't realize it's sad still. There's a grieving process.
Yeah.
So like when he died, I was sad, but again, ultimately, I'm like, this happens. I'm going to, try and grieve him and, remember all the good impacts he had on my life, positive impacts or whatever, And that was that. And then a couple months ago, whenever I made that post, my Mimi, my mom's mom, she had been just kind of like going along a little bit here and there, but she had been getting worse and worse ever since he passed away. So then she was in a nursing home again. They gave her like a week to live. She outlived that a little bit, but she didn't make it much longer.
A week? Or was she just sick?
Yeah, well, this was like, I don't know, this is, whenever it happened, it was like, they're like, we estimate about a week before she passes. And then she went like maybe 2 weeks before she finally passed.
No.
So, but I mean, watching her again, it's another thing. Like, and these two, I wasn't ever around for, because I mean, I'm a truck driver at this point. I'm gone all the fucking time, so I didn't see them deteriorate.
Or either of those times, or maybe even both. Did you have to hear it while you were on the road? Is that when you learned about it?
No, my grandpa died. I had a local job at the time, so I was in town.
Okay.
My grandma, is this job that I have now. So I mean, I'm like in and out every week. So it's like, I'm not gone for too long when I'm gone, but, But I got to see her. Everybody was telling me, like, she's not doing good. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I know. Where's she at? I mean, I'll go by and see her. Talk to her what I can. When I saw her, she was already, like, gone. So she wasn't even awake when I saw her. It was weird because, like, my mom was really upset, obviously, because her mom's dying.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and my aunt are fraternal twins, so I mean, like, they're, they both same age and all that shit. I guess my aunt was more involved with the caretaking while she was still, like going through all this. So she was there more. My mom was there when she could be, due to work, and I've got a younger brother that's like 13 years younger than me, so he's still in school and shit like that. So she, she had a lot of responsibilities still. Plus, she likes to party. So all that's going on. She's real sad. Everybody knows that this is coming. Like, everybody is well aware. Like, she's about to pass away. The day that my mom leaves, she was initially supposed to leave for a week to go be with her ex-boyfriend in Utah. Is when my grandma passes away. Like, that day that she leaves.
Oh,
passes
wow.
away that day. So she's gone. So it's just like, I don't know. My little brother, I talked to him. He says he was fine, but he's a teenager, so he's not gonna be.
Your little brother?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know you had a brother.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, he's in high school. So, but it was like, for him, I can look at it and be like, I'm already detached from my mom. I'm grown, like we try to have a relationship, but it doesn't work out very well. Whereas they've still got a little bit better of a relationship than what we have. So at the same time of him losing his grandma, he lost his mom too to being gone, because she's not coming back. She decided to stay, which she said earlier on the phone that they're planning on moving back closer, but not like back, whatever that would be.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's like, yeah, my experiences with death are that. My views on death are much more nihilistic than most, I'm sure. Because it's just like...
Kind of matter of fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, whatever, we die.
Well,
I get it.
I've got to think, what I've been thinking is, I've got to imagine that losing your father, especially at the age that you did, has got to affect the way that you view or process or see death moving forward after that, because there's not too many losses you experience that are as impactful as something like that.
Yeah.
And I obviously, like, I wouldn't know, because, I'm glad that I still have, both my parents with me, but I couldn't imagine, man. That's, it's got to be tough.
29-year-old Camden has a much more deeper understanding of life and death than 17-year-old Camden did. So looking back on it, I get it. I mean, he was an addict. He was out of control. Even if he wasn't dead, he'd be probably not well off anyway. He was clearly fucked up. He was hurting. He felt like there was no other option. That's his right to choose.
Yeah. Although,
on the topic of suicide, that's everybody's right to choose.
yeah, well, someone could say that he technically couldn't consent since he was
under the influence.
Yeah,
I get it.
But I get what you mean, though. I get what
That's
you're
what,
saying.
somebody. I guess. Well, I forgot one. I think it was in between my dad and my papa.
I did forget one too. I was gonna bring it up, but I was gonna let you finish your.
Well, yeah, in between my dad and my papa passing away, the girlfriend that he had, the girlfriend that my dad had at the time, that was ex, whatever the fuck, she beat herself up over it pretty bad. She was like, I should have answered his calls and all this shit. I'm like, I'm pretty sure. It's not your fault. Blah, blah, blah kind of shit. But she, I don't know, maybe a year or two later, I can't remember exactly how long away it was, but she just was outside smoking, walked in the house, had an aneurysm, and died on the spot.
That's usually how aneurysms go.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, that it's just.
Well, aneurysm's like
happens.
a complete just shutdown
It's
of
a
your brain.
short
It's like
circuit,
a
right?
blood clot or something in your brain, and it completely shuts down brain function immediately. It's like an almost immediate death, I think.
Wow.
So, like, there's no
It's
like
crazy that
aneurysms.
happens.
Just there's another brain thing that's similar to an aneurysm.
Stroke, sort of.
Well, it's another word. I think it's like a C word. I can't remember exactly, but like it's
Yeah.
it's less severe than a full blown aneurysm, and you can like recover from it. Somewhat.
Concussion? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Sort of on a scale, maybe.
I don't know. Whatever. There's something going on that's not a complete like instant death.
Yeah. The one that I did forget that I want to say real quick was my Pop Bill. We used to call him Pop Bill. Mm-hmm. Up north they say Pop a lot, and we just always called him Pop Bill. But he was my mom's, I guess you could say, stepdad. But if you asked her, she would say that he was more of a father to her than her actual dad, and I don't want to get into that because that's her story. Her, I guess, relationship with her father and my grandfather, which I've met, and he was an interesting guy, but apparently he has his demons. That's a whole nother conversation. We could probably get one of these days if we want to get into that, if she's willing. But that was one that wasn't unexpected, because unexpected in the way that he got sick, and it wasn't long after he got sick that he passed away, but unexpected though, because he got sick, and we knew that it was coming. I was at work at the time, and you know, got the call from my mom, like he just passed away like a few minutes ago or whatever. And that one hit me pretty hard. That was more of a momentary hit. Momentarily, it hit me, but overall, I grieved that pretty quickly. And you know, I was glad that I got to know him and I appreciated him and stuff. But we weren't super close because they lived up north, so it was just kind of once every year or two I got to see him. You know, maybe every 2 years, depending. Right. Mostly for big family occasion, like events and stuff like that. He was a really nice dude too. He really took care of my grandmother from what I heard. And another thing that I take solace in is he apparently, when before his time came, when he realized he said he was ready and he's comfortable with it. He's like, this is, you know, my time and I'm ready to go. And he accepted it. So I that's the thing I want. I want to be able to know and accept we were talking about earlier. Yeah, make my peace with it, sort of. So
that's why I've made my peace with it already. I'm ready whenever.
Well, yeah, that's one way to look at it. That's maybe I should have that process. I don't know.
That's probably not healthy. I don't know if I should recommend.
Maybe that's the nihilistic part you were talking about.
I'm an optimistic nihilist, man. I understand that it's coming, but I try to be a positive person regardless of how pointless I think life is.
Yeah,
because life is pointless.
You know,
I got kids, I try to take my life a little more seriously, just to be a good influence on them and help them along the way.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine actually.
Have your kids had to deal with any family deaths yet? Like, I guess.
Yeah, Grandpa. Me.
Are they old enough
Grandpa?
to?
No, probably not.
Well.
All right. So, if somebody killed themselves, would you want to know how they did it?
Would I want to know? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'd probably want to know, but whether I should know or not is debatable.
Where I'm at. Because I know, like I ended up finding out how my dad did it. Like he took a flex hose from the exhaust of the truck and ran it into the cab and just carbon monoxide poisoning.
I guess it's more of I want to know if they suffered or not, and because it'll give me comfort if they didn't. I guess if they did, then it would make me even worse.
Well, that's what they say. It's no suffering with that because as long as oxygen,
they go to sleep, sort of.
Yeah, oxygen's not. As long as oxygen doesn't hit it, it has no smell or anything, so you don't even know. It's just filling up. But I just thought about it. I'm like, you got to be pretty fucking ready to die to go through that much, put that much effort into it. You got to hook the fucking thing up to the fucking exhaust and then put it into the cab where you're at, and then sit there knowing that you're about to die. It's like, I mean, he fucking made his choice, man. And you continue to make that choice.
Well, what sucks is I feel like I can empathize with that because I've been suicidal before, and I want to say you want to be able to say, yo, yeah, I've been there, but I'm still here.
Right.
So maybe I wasn't in that much pain,
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of pain or anguish he was in at the time.
Oh, I mean, it's that coupled with the, lack of rationale from the meth.
Yeah.
Because when I was 13, I was gonna kill myself. I was just gonna shoot myself, but I was gonna do it really fucked up. Like I mentioned, I think when Karma was on, that I was gonna do it at school during lunch and make everybody watch me. So that's pretty fucking shitty.
Well, it is. Well, there is something when you're that age, and thinking about suicide, there's something sometimes it's more than just not wanting to exist. There's usually some element of.
Oh, it's constant bullying and everything. I felt secluded everywhere.
It's almost like revenge, or it's almost
hurt people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's days that I'm glad I didn't, and there's days that I'm not glad I didn't. So.
Well,
but
yeah.
the day before I got told that my dad killed himself, I was down in Kathleen taking somebody to the trailer park down the street from my dad's house, and I was like, I should go see my dad. And for whatever reason, I turned the other way and didn't go by. But I don't know. So there's that possibility I would have found him. So I'm glad that I didn't do that, I think. But there's also the possibility I would have went by and never knew because he locked himself in the garage. So all the doors were barricaded, so nobody could really get in easy. I mean, you could still get in, obviously, but so he had it. I probably would have drove by and been like, oh, I don't see his truck. He might not be there, and I might not even stop. I don't know. That's always That's always fucked with me. It was like the night before I found out. Like, he was dead already. He'd been in there a couple days, they say.
Oh, wow.
So, like, he was already dead when I was down there. Like, I was going to go by and see him and check on him and see how things were. But he was already dead. I didn't know that, obviously. I didn't find out till the next day. But, so that's, I don't know, that's a weird situation.
Well, you know, sometimes you gotta, or not gotta, well, it depends on how you say it, I guess. But, you know, I got lucky sort of with Willow, because even though as hard as it was having to witness and see it happen, like her collapse and everything, and you know, that's burned into my memory now, like that whole scene, everything happening. It could have been worse in the sense that I'm glad that I was there, and even though I didn't get the actual goodbye there with her in person, one of her last moments was with me.
Right.
So I could have been at work, I could have been gone, and she could have collapsed out of a heart attack and then just died alone.
Yeah,
completely
been gone.
You know, so I mean, I feel like you can beat yourself up about, or not beat yourself up, but just like, you know, bombard your brain with different scenarios and things, and you just got to kind of live with the way that it went and try to look at the positives and negatives and appreciate the positives, whatever positives may be out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's where I'm at. I just, you know, I'm still.
Well, I can imagine for years you probably weren't at that, though.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Again, like 3 to 4 years afterwards, every single day I thought about killing myself. So, yeah, I wasn't there right away. It took me some while
you grew
to get
into
there.
it, and you're this hilarious person you are today.
Yeah, I had to go through a lot to get it.
Where's the applause? What? Oh, the volume was down.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't used a single sound bed this whole episode.
I feel like we need some levity here.
Wet ass keyword.
There we go. Haha. That didn't work.
Yeah, whatever.
Man, that was, I guess we're going to wrap it up. That was
Yeah.
a heavy episode. Not quite as funny as our typical ones, but we don't always have to be on 10 funny all the time.
Depends on your perspective. This could be hilarious to somebody.
Who loves laughing at other people's
Yeah, somebody out there hates
downfalls.
us. Somebody out there hates us, and they're just waiting. This is our moment of vulnerability. They're just like,
There you go.
those motherfuckers. Good.
Hope y'all are
I'm
satisfied.
glad they're suffering. You know what? I'm gonna take that away from you. I'm glad we're suffering too. Fuck you. Not really. I'm very sad.
Did I just hear a doorbell? Or was that my ear just ringing for no reason?
I think that's your ear just ringing.
Oh, okay.
There's no
I thought I heard a
doorbells.
doorbell.
Are you having a stroke?
I'm having a strong.
Do I have another death update episode for next week?
What an episode that would be. Wow.
All right, guys, update. Scott
Scott's
died
gone.
last week.
Now for my dumb thought of the week. Yeah.
Little change to the casting here.
The casting.
It's just Camden.
Scott had to be taken off the cast. He got let go.
Yeah, he's really slacking
Yeah, he no call, no showed.
to his own house.
Wow. That's dark, dude.
I'm still recording at his house. His parents are letting me.
Yeah. He would want that.
Yeah. Maybe it gives him some kind of comfort, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm sure he's right
They're
across.
gonna
from me.
hate this part of the episode. They're gonna hear this and be like, "Fuck this! You guys got to stop."
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So hopefully you've got some life left in you.
I hope. If I don't make some changes, if I make some changes, I might.
Yeah, we both need to make some.
Speaking of which,
changes.
I'm hungry. Oh wait, there's fried chicken,
Yeah, that's right.
which probably isn't the best choice food, but
I need to make some changes. Oh, there's fried chicken.
I mean that's how it goes.
I know. I'm on the same fucking
Yeah.
wavelength, dude.
Well,
So that's that, man.
speaking of which, fried chicken is calling my name, so let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, as always, this has been another episode of Babblin and Dabblin, episode 63. Excuse me.
I got you.
Again, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. God damn it. That's not the handle. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Babblin Dabblin. That's Babblin.
Dabblin.
Once again, for all you first-time listeners, if you made it this far through that, holy shit, you're a trooper, and we're glad you're here. But if you are a first-time listener and you're still listening, thank you so much for being here and checking us out. This is not typical of us. But return listeners, thank you for coming back. We appreciate everybody that's given some time to us. Found some time in your lives that are very busy, I'm sure. You've included us. That is very meaningful in this meaningless world.
And we're glad to bring you this, whatever this is for you every week.
Not this one. We're not glad to bring you this one. Sorry.
I'm sure others have.
Sorry for this.
I'm sure others have struggles with death and.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a very relatable episode.
Yeah.
But it's fucking sad. It's a very deep and sad episode. And a long one at that. 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I felt like we had to get it out and just monetize it, you know. I'm just kidding. Not really. I'm not kidding, but I'm also kidding.
Why would we pay therapists when we could try and make a quick book?
Get paid. Listen to you. Let you guys listen to us. Speaking of which, give us your therapeutic advice based on this conversation we've had today.
Take it. Well, I won't take it.
I'll read it.
Scott might. So that's it, man. Love you guys and girls, non-gender conforming people of the world.
We love they, them,
Y'all.
y'all.
Is very gender neutral, and y'all talk about how unprogressive the South is. Fuck them. Y'all is gender.
We were the first
inclusive.
gender neutral.
You all, y'all, and that's it. We're done. It's my turn to name this, right? Because you named last week with my name.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Anyway, so this episode. Wait, did we forget anything? Is everything wrapped? Are we good?
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes, YouTube. If you like that, go find us.
Make sure it's the one that doesn't have the actual like video on it.
Make sure there's audio only episodes on the YouTube channel you find, because that's the one we're gonna be running with from now on. Just another thank you. Fuck it. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
We really do appreciate it so much. This isn't possible without an audience.
And if there's other topics like that you guys want us to just break down and analyze and talk about, let us know, and we'll consider it.
Send all suggestions.
And even your encounters, your struggles, your, something that you think would be relatable that you want us to discuss, we're welcome to it.
Yeah. You can message either one of us on Facebook or the Babblin Dabblin page. You can email us at babblindabblin@gmail.com. Same spelling as all the handles. All right, so let's wrap this. God damn it. The name of this episode is The Happiest Episode Yet.
Tango, 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 大家族やんちゃな焼き団子優しいあん団子みんな合わせて100人家族赤ちゃん